If a brand isn't transparent or it's over flashy on the greens and the, pictures of leaves and all of these things, you want to just have a conversation in your head about, okay, well, why are they doing it that way? Negating to tell us in the other aspects. So if you're able, then look at the label and make a decision for yourself based on the type of material it's made from, and always have that thought process that says, what am I going to do with this item? How often am I going to wear it? Is it something I can then sell on, or will it end up in landfill because it's not going to last more than 2 or 3 washes?
Now you explained it very precise. I believe that's thing, or that's a way how we should, question ourselves before we buy something. Because as I said before, we already have everything. So if you need something for the occasionally, you should know that what we could do, or the best way, I discovered the other guests too, and is the renting that you also mentioned. So if you know that, I'm gonna be going to this occasion and I'm gonna be wearing it once in a lifetime or twice, so you can just only rent and then send it back, give it back. So I believe that's also one of the more ways popular. It's getting popular now, so it's very great.
Yeah, we have a lot of them here actually.
Yeah.
Some really, really good ones.
Yeah, I believe so. I think Dubai have more occasions to go. So if you're buying clothes every day, that's gonna be not so ethical, even for your pocket. So
True.
it's better to be renting. So just you don't have space in the wardrobe too. I don't know how's the rents over there of the houses. If it's here in the New York City apartment, you don't have a space even to put your clothes.
It's the same.
It's the same.
Yeah.
But my cousins lives there, so he was telling me a little bit. So I was like, okay, I'll be visiting.
Yeah, we might have bigger wardrobes, but it's
Okay.
not. Yeah, I wouldn't say filling them is the goal. Put it that way.
Exactly. So also the next thing is you also have worked with the mission-driven ventures. What are the toughest parts of building something sustainable today? I'm talking about the clothing brand perspective. If you want to build a clothing brand, what are the things that you should consider, or according to your experience?
I would say if you're building a clothing brand, is know your audience completely. So if you are targeting obviously a different generation to yours, make sure you have the exact description of the person or persons that you're looking to outfit. And that way you're less likely to get it wrong, because getting it wrong is cost. Get it wrong is cost for the manufacturing, it's cost for all the test pieces, and then that also leaves wastage. So if you've bought lots of fabric and it's the wrong fabric, it doesn't work well, or it doesn't sell well, then you have surplus environment. If you can, source fabrics and things from things like dead stock companies, because dead stock fabric is exactly that. It's surplus to someone's already purchased requirements, and you're helping to use in small quantities the fabric that has nowhere else to go except live in a warehouse. So I would say dead stock is a really good way of reducing your cost as a brand. No, not just obviously your audience buying, but if you can give an opportunity to your consumer that either buys back the pieces once they're done with it, or offers secondhand, so offers them a resale platform, or perhaps gives them an offset. So you say, 1% for the planet, or there's some sort of donation that goes per item to a cause that's linked to perhaps your manufacturing chain. So whether or not it's the communities in which the people who have made your clothes actually live in, and you're helping to build schools, build roads, things like that. I think people trust people. So if you can be as transparent and as personable and human as possible as a brand, you'll see that people will like to support that.
That's very good. My next question was to what is your advice for the founders, who are coming up with the clothing brand, sustainable clothing brand? I believe you already given the advices, and you mentioned the thing is that, so they should know what to do. So no, that's lovely. So also the thing you mentioned before is, paying more for the sustainable and for the slow fashion. I think even though we I don't know about the Dubai, how they, manage the food market, but in the US, especially in New York, you have to pay extra for the organic food. I mean, whatever the normal prices are, we already know that, it's not so good for your health. But if you want to be more, friendly, or you want to be, good for your health, you have to pay extra for the same thing, like $3-4
Yes.
more for the same thing, like milk, eggs, or wheat, or whatever. So also, if you also want good for your body and good for the planet, it doesn't harm you to pay some extra for, even for yourself, for your body, for the outer one, if you're taking care for inside. So it's the same thing. So, but
Very much.
yeah, but I believe, some of the big companies, the corporates, they feed into the people about fast paced, moving fast paced, and we expect if we order right now, the thing gonna be delivered by the next day or within the 24 hours. Even Amazon do that. And I do understand, there's things, but I believe the consumers right now, it's so into it, so they can't wait. Even the brands,
Yeah, exactly. There's definitely this sense of, I want it at my fingertips. I want it delivered,
yeah,
in 2 hours, that kind of thing. We have that here too. I think not a lot of people realize, though, when you get clothing delivered, especially if it's from a big company, it's actually a lot harder for a brand to repackage it and put it back online or put it back on the floor if you return it. So
that's enough.
it's definitely worth making sure of your sizes if you're ordering online before you order.
Yeah.
And don't order more than one. And know that if you return anything because it doesn't fit, it's ending up 90% of the time as wastage.
Yeah.
So it's not the most sustainable option.
That's right. So at this point, how can a consumer, or me myself, can influence the future of this industry? What we need to do?
You vote with your money. So if you shop sustainably,
Okay.
it might not seem like a lot, but you're changing that 1.001% mindset. And if you can convince one other person to do the same, whether it's your mum or your son or your brother or your friend, then you've helped that person also make that same choice. And if they have the same outcome, you start to see a pattern. Only with our money can we make any change, because talking about it now is great for information and getting the awareness out there, like things like understanding the difference between synthetic natural fibers, but also what happens to our clothes, once they're done. Where do they end up? In Chile, in the Atacama Desert, they're piling up, the landfills seen from space. In different parts of Africa, the clothing is littered across, the beachfronts. And we had huge fires in Africa's largest secondhand clothing market, which destroyed, millions of clothes. That doesn't mean there's a requirement for more of them. It means there's no longer the space to sell them in. That's gone. You also have a lot of ethical problems with manufacturing and things like this. So, I can't even remember what we were talking about. Just when you start thinking about all the things involved in the fashion industry, and the fact that the carbon footprint is heavier than all transport and logistics combined.
Right.
The fact that, the chemicals that it takes to dye one pair of jeans, and the water that it goes through. It's not a closed loop manufacturing system. Most people don't realize that denim is actually white. It's cotton to begin with. So in order to make it the blue that we see on a pair of denim and jeans, has to go through wash after acid bath, after wash, after, different chemical processes and treatments in order to get it the blue that we want. So denim is one of the most unsustainable things on the planet, even though it's made with cotton.
Yeah.
But because of the processes it goes through.